In Visual Latin Lesson 17, I introduced the concept of active and passive verbs in Latin. This concept gives my students so much trouble. So this shows up, passive voice shows up in Lingua Latina by Hans Orberg in Chapter 6. It shows up in First Year Latin by Robert Henley in Lesson 17. It shows up in Latin by Frederick Wheelock, sorry about that, in Chapter 18. And it shows up in a primer of Ecclesiastical Latin by John Collins in Unit 7. And again, it shows up in Visual Latin in Lesson 17. So I'm going to take you through a bunch of English examples, show you how it works, show you how passive voice works. We're going to diagram these. I'll teach you how to diagram these. And then that'll be it. We're not even going to translate these into Latin. So our first sentence is woodchucks chuck wood. If you want to see a funny commercial of this, then go to Woodchucks Chuck Wood and type in Geico afterwards. Subject of the sentence is woodchucks. It's in the nominative case. What is he doing? He's chucking. Or what are they doing? They're chucking. What are they chucking? They're chucking wood. That's direct object. And in Latin, it would be in the accusative case. To make this passive, we're going to take the direct object and make it the subject of the sentence. So we're going to say the same thing, but we're going to start with wood. Wood. Now how do we do this? The woodchucks chuck wood. Now we have wood, and we want the same sentence. So to make this passive, we're going to have to add the helping verbs is and being. Wood is being chucked. You don't always need being, but being helps to make it a little more clear. I'm not sure what happened to my D there. Wood is being chucked by woodchucks. Woodchucks. There we go. Wood is being chucked by woodchucks. Okay, subject of the sentence, wood. Verb is being chucked. Chucked is the main verb. Being is a helping verb. Is a helping verb. By is a preposition. By whom? Woodchucks, object of the preposition. By woodchucks, prepositional phrase. And in Latin it would go into the ablative case. So when we diagram this, to diagram the first one in the active voice, this is active right here. This is passive. The first one is active. The second one is passive. To diagram it in the active voice, we would just say woodchucks chuck wood. Right? Woodchucks chuck wood. It's very simple. To diagram it in the passive voice, we would say wood is being chucked. The entire verb phrase goes up here. Wood is being chucked. And then we have this prepositional phrase down here. By woodchucks. Wood is being chucked by woodchucks. Okay, that's passive. Let's look at another example. Jack loves Jill. Jack is the subject of the sentence, nominative case in Latin. What's he doing? He loves. That's an active verb. In an active sentence, the subject performs the action. Who loves Jill? Jack loves Jill. Who's chucking the wood? The woodchucks are chucking the wood. Jack loves whom? He loves Jill. She's the direct object, and in Latin she would go into the accusative case. To make this passive, we're going to flip it and make Jill the subject. Jill is being. We don't necessarily need being, but it helps my students understand if they know that being can be inserted into the sentence, or if they can insert being into the sentence. Jill is being loved by Jack. Or we could just say Jill is loved by Jack. Jill is the subject of the sentence. She's in the nominative case in Latin. She is being loved. Loved is the main verb. Being is a helping verb. Is another helping verb. By is a preposition. By whom? By Jack, object of the preposition. And in Latin, this would be in the ablative case. We're not translating it into Latin, but if it were in Latin, it would be in the ablative case. To diagram it, we'll just do the passive one. This is a passive verb. To diagram it, we say Jill is being, sorry about the I, loved. The entire verb phrase goes on that line there. By Jack. Jill is being loved by Jack. Another example. I am not afraid of you. I do not fear you. I, subject of the sentence. It's actually a subject pronoun. Do not fear is a verb phrase. Fear is the main verb. Not is an adverb. Do is a helping verb. And then, who am I not afraid of? I'm not afraid of you. Direct object accusative case. To make this passive, we're going to move you to the subject position and say, you are not, you can add being if you want, you are not being feared, or we could just say you are not feared. You are not feared by, sorry about that, that's an ugly Y, by me. We can't say you are not feared by I. That doesn't work. That's not proper English. You are not being feared by me, or you are not feared by me. Either way, it sounds awful compared to the active voice. I like active so much better. You is subject of the sentence. It's the subject pronoun. You are not being feared is the verb phrase. Feared is the main verb. Being is a helping verb. Not is an adverb. Are is another helping verb. By is a preposition. By whom? By me. Object of the preposition. And this would go in the ablative case in Latin. To diagram this, we would say, we would draw the straight line and divide it. You, and we put the entire verb phrase on the line here. Are, actually the not is an adverb and it always goes underneath the verb on a slanted line. You are not being feared, or just you are not feared. By, preposition. By whom? By me. Let's look at another one. Boys chase girls. Subject of the sentence, boys. Subject of the sentence in Latin it would be in the nominative case. What do? They chase. Verb. The boys are performing the action, right? Those are the guys who are doing it, right? They're chasing these girls, so that's an active verb. Get rid of that arrow because we need the space. And what are they chasing? They're chasing the girls. The girls receive the action. Like it or not, they're being chased by the boys. Oh, that was passive. So, girls. Girls are being chased by boys. You can see that the passive is always wordier than active. Girls, subject of the sentence, nominative case. They are being chased. Chased is the main verb. Being is a helping verb. Are is a helping verb. This whole thing is passive because someone else is doing the chasing, not the girls. By, preposition by whom? The boys. Object of the preposition by the boys, prepositional phrase. And in Latin it would be in the ablative case. To diagram it, straight line, divide it. Girls on the subject side. Girls are being chased. And they are being chased by boys. We're going to come back to these prepositional phrases in just a minute. A fish swallowed Jonah, subject of the sentence. Fish, subject of the sentence, nominative case. Swallowed is a verb. Jonah is the direct object. He received the action. Some people don't believe this story is possible, but of course it was. Jonah was one of the minor prophets. Okay, Jonah is now the subject of the sentence. Jonah is, let's throw out being. We don't need it. Jonah is swallowed. We could say Jonah is being swallowed. Jonah is swallowed by a fish. Alright, so now we have a passive sentence. Jonah, subject of the sentence, nominative case. Jonah is swallowed. Swallowed is the main verb. Is a helping verb. This is a passive sentence because Jonah is not doing the swallowing. Someone else is. By, preposition by whom? A fish. Object of the preposition by a fish is an article adjective. By a fish, prepositional phrase. In Latin it would go in the ablative case. So we diagram it by drawing a straight line and dividing it. Jonah, I hope you're seeing the repeated pattern over and over again. That's the point of this video. Jonah is swallowed Jonah is swallowed by a fish. Article adjective goes down here underneath fish. Jonah is swallowed by a fish. I made a mistake. I do that often, actually. Subject of the sentence, it's a subject pronoun, nominative case. What did I do? I made. Verb, what did I make? I made a mistake. Direct object, accusative case, is in the article. Is an article adjective. Okay, we can switch this to passive by saying a mistake was made by me. Sentence has to be longer again because it's passive. Subject of the sentence, nominative case. The mistake was made. Made is the main verb. Was is a helping verb. The mistake didn't do anything. I made the mistake. So the subject is doing nothing. So the subject is a passive verb, or this sentence is a passive sentence, and because the verb is a passive verb. By is a preposition. Me is the object of the preposition. And if we were to diagram it, we'd have a straight line divide it. Oops, that's wrong. Mistake. Change it to a mistake was made by me. And I believe that's our last one. Yep, it is. So, now comes something interesting. All of these prepositional phrases, by me, by girls, by fish, they're all the agent. Agent comes from the Latin word agere, which means to do. So the agent is the doer of the sentence. Now this is interesting. With passive verbs, you can get rid of the agent and you can eliminate blame. For instance, in this sentence, I made a mistake. There's no doubt who made the mistake, and I can't evade blame with an active sentence because I have to admit I made the mistake, or you made the mistake, or she made the mistake. You have to admit who did it in an active sentence. In a passive sentence, you can hide blame. Here's how. You just go get rid of the agent. So, a mistake was made. You just leave it at that. A mistake was made. Okay? Look at this. Jonah is swallowed. There's no response. The fish has no responsibility anymore. All we know is that Jonah was swallowed. How about this one? Boys chase girls. Well, we could just eliminate the agent, boys, and say girls are being chased. The girls are being chased. Do the boys bear any responsibility anymore? No, not with a passive sentence. You can hide blame. I do not fear you becomes you are not being feared by me. If we want to get rid of the agent, we can just eliminate by me. The sentence still works. You are not being feared. Jack loves Jill. If we want to hide Jack's identity or hide the identity of the boy who loves Jill, we could just eliminate the agent. Jill is being loved. We know someone loves Jill, but we don't know whom. Sorry about that. Woodchucks chuck wood. Who's chucking the wood? The woodchucks are, but we can eliminate the agent and just say that the wood is being chucked. And now no one is bearing any responsibility for chucking the wood. Who chucked my wood? Oh, I don't know. The wood just got chucked. You can eliminate the agent in a passive sentence. This is why many politicians love passive sentences, and you'll hear them speak often in the passive voice. Not, I am going to raise taxes, or I had to raise taxes. They'll say something like, it was necessary that taxes were raised. Taxes had to be raised. Those are both passive sentences, and the agent has been left off. So I hope this helps you understand passive sentences a little more. This is a topic that confuses and bewilders the best of my students. If you want to comment about it, or if you need to ask some questions about it, you can check out my website, DwaneThomas.com. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is click on that little icon right up there in the top right hand corner, and it'll take you right to my site.